Everyone who watches the game, who feels the exhilaration of a touchdown or the emotion of a big hit, sees a sport as an exciting form of entertainment. But what they don't see may not be worth all of the big hits and scores. Concussions. Concussions occur when a person jars the head and the brain smacks against the skull. Symptoms include dizziness, short term memory loss, sleepiness, sharp head pains, nausea, and confusion. These are just a few short term effects of what a player may go through after just one concussion. But what happens when they build up after multiple seasons? CTE is what happens. CTE stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is a progressive degenerative disease that causes pieces of the brain to die and produce a rare protein called tau on the brain. This occurs after multiple concussions, both symptomatic and asymptomatic, and leads to loss of memory, depression, dementia, larger likelihood of Alzheimer's, slowed motor skills, constant headaches, and sometimes even death. As doctors and parents become more educated about the dangers of head trauma in the sport of football, we are seeing more parents withholding their children from the game that has been a part of American society for as long as we can remember. Many NFL players were retiring early this past offseason because of the risk of long term injury, many stating that they want to have the chance to play with the grandkids and not deal with all of the problems many former NFL players are dealing with now as they grow in age. Junior Seau, a Hall of Fame linebacker, suffered from CTE and very deep depression. This caused him to eventually take his own life in 2012. This isn't the only case. 87 out of 91 autopsies of bodies of former NFL players found CTE present on the brain. This unfortunate reality of the sport has caused some players to hang up the cleats. Chris Borland, a former linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers, made headlines this past offseason when he retired at the age of 24. "I just honestly want to do what's best for my health," Borland told ESPN. He also said, "From what I've researched and what I've experienced, I don't think it's worth the risk." Coaches are also a major part of the ongoing controversy of player safety in football. In one case at Columbia University after the 2013 season, about 25 players wrote a letter to the school president, Lee Bollinger, consisting of a list of complaints about their head football coach, Pete Mangurian. Among those was Mangurian's pressure towards players to play through head injuries. Pete Mangurian has consistently denied the diagnosis of concussions. There are several players who will speak to the fact that Mangurian told them to return to practice and that they are faking their concussions and that they are often being soft and they sit out for the concussion injury, stated the Columbia Spectator. On the other hand, many coaches are required to get Heads Up certified, a certification that makes coaches understand concussions and how to play in a safer manner. This proves that coaches play a large role in player safety, whether if it is for the better or for the worse. Coaches are heavily involved in each player's safety. Doctors are heavily involved in this controversial part of the game. Some doctors are supporting concussion research, and others are ignorant of the topic and push for quick return to play. Dr. Elliot Pellman, former team doctor for the New York Jets, was caught in a scandal for letting concussed players return too soon. Dr. Pellman, a chairman in the NFL's Mild Traumatic Brain Injury Committee, allowed receiver Wayne Chrebet to return just minutes after being knocked unconscious. On the alternative, some doctors are pushing for the exact opposite. They wish for more time to recover and more in-depth testing. Dr. Amalu, PhD from UC Davis, is the one who discovered CTE and performed the famous autopsy on Mike Webster, a former Pittsburgh Steelers All-Star who suffered from dementia and was awarded full disability from the NFL. Dr. Amalu started this whole new movement in football to get doctors everywhere to be more cautious when it comes to players returning. But of course, if doctors are worrying, then there are parents who are going to be worrying everywhere. The National Pop Warner Youth Football League has lost 10% of participation since these concussion allegations have become more popular. This just once again goes to show that parents are just as concerned, if not more, than players, coaches, and doctors. Parents do not want to bury their children, and They are afraid that football may cause them to have to go through that. In conclusion, all players are in danger of serious head injury, and it is up to players and coaches, parents, and doctors to decide how we fix this issue and whether or not it can continue. In Disney's adaptation of Pocahontas, the natives and settlers were unfamiliar with one another, causing their personas to conflict. But as they gain more knowledge of one another, they are able to fix the conflicts, just as issues surrounding concussions in football.